Hi there, welcome along to another video for you to row along to. Still got the hair and the beard's getting shaggier. And we're going to start doing something slightly different. I've had enough requests about trying to do some kind of a plan that I'm going to start ordering these workouts into something that you can follow in order to try and give some structure to your rowing. Okay, I'll explain more as we go through the row. Read the comments if you can't wait that long. But today's session is going to be a foundation session. So we're going to do 30 minutes at 22 strokes per minute. Okay, we hardly ever do 22s on this channel. So 22 strokes a minute, and the effort level is going to be around about 2k plus 18, which is going to be around about 5-6 out of 10. But the key now is that what I want to say is that pick a pace you can complete this at. Okay, this is all going to sound quite familiar, and like I said, I'm going to talk to you more about this during the main row. But for the time being, I want us to get into a 4-minute warm-up, okay, just to get our bodies eased into it. So first up, set your drag factor. I want it to be somewhere, if you know what drag factor is, round about 130, maybe plus or minus 15. I want your monitor to be at eye height. Don't look up, don't look down. And I want your foot straps to be at a point where they either cover the bottom lace in your shoe, or if you're in socks like me, they let you hinge forwards at the front properly. There we go, longest intro ever, okay? So 4-minute warm-up, run about 18 strokes per minute, just easing yourself into it in 3, 2, 1, go. I'm wearing a white t-shirt today. Hardly ever wear a white t-shirt for you guys. Mostly because all my clothes are dark. So when it comes to doing the washing, a white t-shirt for me hangs around for a while, and you really don't want a sweaty white t-shirt hanging around. So but I've got enough whites to wash right now, so I thought white t-shirt. This one's from the English Indoor Rowing Championships in, maybe 3 years ago? 2017, probably says in the back. Which I think is the last time I competed at them. Don't want to brag, but I won gold in the 40 to 49 lightweights. It's back when I wasn't injured. Anyway, right, so a minute gone into the warm-up. Just have a wee think about, maybe think about loose arms for the time being. Nice relaxed shoulders. Straight, allows you to pick up the flywheel at the front. And that way you're not grabbing and bending your elbows too soon. Just think about nice straight arms until the end of the drive, at which point you pull in. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. I'll talk more technique stuff in the main session as always. Lots to talk about today. Okay, so in 3 seconds, I want you to take a foot out of the foot straps and single leg row. It's just a foundation session we're doing today, so you don't need a high-end warm-up. And don't worry, by foundation I don't mean beginner. I mean endurance building a good engine. One more stroke here. So it's at the bottom of the pyramid. The real important one. So I don't mean foundation as in beginner, so don't worry about it. This kind of session is something that rowers all around the world do. Winners, losers. Right, both feet in, and then legs straight-ish, and just use your back and arms. Allow you a little bit of a bend in your knees, so you're not locking your knees. But the key is rock through the hips, and the pulling into the arms and squeezing the shoulder blades together. 2 more strokes here. And then we're going to do the opposite. Straight arms, drive with the legs. This is a good one when I was talking about technique a couple of minutes ago. If you can't get used to having straight arms at the front when rowing normally, just do a couple of minutes of this every now and then. Just drive with straight arms and don't finish. Just get used to the power from your legs getting through to the handle. There we go. All done on the warm-up. So have a drink, carry on moving up and down the rail, and I'll explain to you one more time what we're doing today. Okay then, so this is a 30-minute row at 22 strokes per minute. Now, pace-wise is round about 2k plus 18, say 5 or 6 out of 10, but the key really here is that you can do this row and you can complete it and you're not going to be destroyed, okay? So think of the effort level of 5 or 6 out of 10. You should be able to have a conversation with someone, having to stop every now and then for deep breaths, but you shouldn't be destroyed from it, okay? This really is the key. I'll explain more about this stuff as we get through the row. I've got half an hour together, so I might as well talk at you then rather than pre-row. So, assuming you're ready, have one last drink. Make sure you're happy, tighten your straps. And then in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Right, so 22 strokes. Takes a bit more of a concentration from a pace point of view, because I can't just look at the monitor and count down like 3 seconds or 2.5 but I'm quite happily on 22 right now, so I'll try not to stray too much. Don't worry if your monitor strays, just stick with me. I do mess up stroke rate from time to time, but it tends to be more in interval workouts. So, interesting thing for me, and maybe if you've been doing enough of my other videos, is that usually a 2k plus 18 pace is done at around, well, it's done at 20 strokes per minute. So, by bumping the stroke rate up to 22, but keeping the pace the same, the stroke actually feels a little bit lighter. However, what you'll find is the payoff, or the payback, whatever, for that lighter stroke is a slightly higher toll on your cardio system. But the point of this one is to actually have a good whack at your cardio system and not overstress your muscles, because those kind of workouts are reserved for the other 2 tiers in this workout plan. So, like I said, today we're doing a foundation workout. If you think of it as a 3-level pyramid, then as you climb up that pyramid, we hit the mid-tier hard workouts, and that's when you'll really start to work your muscles from a power point of view and your cardio system at the same time, and we'll feel like you've had a heck of a workout at the end of that one. And then you get to the top tier, the tough stuff. Now that's the kind of top end sprint anaerobic workouts, or at least the workouts that touch upon going anaerobic. They'll kind of dip their toe in the water with it, but you won't spend the whole row in an anaerobic state. Anyway, that's the point. So you get foundation, which is the one we're doing today, which builds up your endurance, the cardiovascular system, builds the mitochondria in your blood cells, and basically gives you the engine you need to be able to train and complete in the next two levels, the hard and the tough stuff. And the hard stuff, or the hard interval, hard level, can be a mixture of intervals at kind of 24, 28 strokes per minute, where you're working hard, driving hard with the legs and getting to your aerobic threshold. So that will really give you a good test when you do that. But then the top end stuff, that's where things like a 2K come in, or 8 times 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off at 2K pace, all that kind of stuff, or even 10 times 1 minute at 20 strokes a minute, but at full pressure. Basically, the tough stuff is anything that exhausts your muscles and your cardio system, depletes it right down, and then either stops there because it's been like a 2K test, or gives you a rest. In order to be able to attack the next one. Right, 7 minutes in. I'm going to pause talking about this plan for a while, just to quickly address the very bare bones of technique. Because although you may have rode along with a bunch of my other videos, you've heard it before, there's always a chance this is the first of my videos you've watched. In which case, where have you been? We've been hanging here for ages waiting for you. Did you get caught in traffic? So, I'll give you the two things I want you to concentrate on for now, and then later in the row I'll refine it a little bit. Don't want to give you too many technique tips at the same time and you'll forget. I'll get you those. One of them is you take in the info from another one. So, what I want you to concentrate on is having a forward lean at the front and then a backward lean at the back of the stroke. So in essence, you're going from, hang on, 11 o'clock, no, wrong way around, 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock. 1 to 11. 1 to 11. Okay, concentrate on that for a second. I think my beard's going up my nose. So 1 o'clock at the front, hold it as you drive with the legs, and then about half to 3/4 of the way through the stroke, swing your hips back. Remember the drill we did at the front, at the warm-up? Swing your hips back and then pull in your arms to finish. Now really try to keep that forward lean for as long as possible before swinging back and pulling in your arms, because that forward lean lets you connect with your legs through your arms and into the handle, and that's when you hear the acceleration of the stroke through the flywheel, because it's driving from the legs and then finishing with your hip rock in your arms. So you'll notice that means the sequences in terms of power goes, there you go, legs, back, arms, legs, back, arms. Okay? You try and hold off that backswing, and certainly hold off the pulling of the arms. This is why my channel is called Push It, Don't Pull It, PDP, because you're pushing the machine away with your legs. It's not just a pulling motion with your arms. Sadly, push it, don't just pull it isn't quite as catchy, so hence why it's called push it, don't pull it. So push the machine away with your legs rather than thinking about trying to pull the handle back. So you've got straight arms and a forward lean and an engaged core, and then pushing with your legs will make the handle come back, and then you just have to finish by then pulling the handle into your chest, kind of just below the sternum, and squeezing your shoulders tight. So that's technique point number 1. Now do you see why I'm not overloading you with information? Because even technique point number 1 has a lot of information. So 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock. But it's not a case of you having to think about rocking backwards and forwards through each and every stroke in a conscious manner. What you do is At the end of your drive, push your hands away. Okay? So push your hands away. Push. So the speed that you pull the handle into your chest at, release it from your chest. So you go boom, boom, lightsaber noises. Boom, 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 swish, swish. I'll stop, don't worry. Would you get me? So, in, out. You don't pause at the end. You don't rake down your legs. You certainly don't lift it like that. You just go boom, 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 boom. Okay? Now, why do we do that? You mean, apart from the chance to make funny noises? Do we need another reason? It's so that you can clear the handle over your knees, and by doing so, engage the hip rock to rock forwards. Because remember, before, I was only talking about rocking from 1 to 11. I wasn't particularly talking about going from 11 to 1. So, by getting the handle out over your knees, the momentum starts to travel forwards. And you rock through your hips, and then you bend your knees as the handle passes over the top of them. The key being over, but past the top of them. Try not to bend your knees too early, because the point is, get the handle forwards to engage the hip rock, okay? To go from 11 to 1. And then you slide, because your knees bend, you end up, momentum-wise, naturally sliding to the front of the machine, ready for the next stroke. So, it's not about flexing your feet against the straps and pulling yourself forwards with your shin muscles. That's not the point. The point is use the momentum of your stroke like that to throw the handle away, to kick off your forward lean, and then your knee bends, or knees bend, and you go forwards. And so, by having that hip rock in place, you're already in position at the front of the machine, ready for your next drive. And that way, you never have to think about consciously going backwards and forwards. It's all just a fluid momentum. It's all just a dance with the machine. So think about those two things, okay? Just going from 1 o'clock to 11, and then getting the handle back over your knees. Boom, boom. This is your first time thinking about technique, and just let that bed in, okay? Really try and think about it. And watch how I don't stop, I don't pause at the end. Yes, my legs extend and stop, but that's to let my hip rock and arms finish. So I never actually stop moving. So while you concentrate on that, I'll tell you what I'm having for dinner tonight. Come on, it couldn't be one of my rows without talking about food, could it? Actually, no. I'll talk about the plan, don't worry. But tonight's dinner is chili, so looking forward to that. So, we're 20 minutes in-ish, almost. And I've got to say, this does feel a lot easier on the muscles, and so far the cardio, than if I was doing it the same pace at 20 strokes per minute. And that's how it's meant to be. This kind of a row, the bottom tier, the foundation level stuff, you should mostly be in the same position as me and be able to have 95% of the time a conversation with someone. Maybe you have to take a couple of extra breaths every couple of sentences, but you're not gasping for air. So mostly a good conversation can be had at foundation level, bottom tier training sessions. Next one up, the hard sessions, you'll be able to get out sentences every few strokes, but you probably won't be able to talk flat out the way I am right now on this foundation one. And then for the tough stuff, the top level, if you're doing it right, you shouldn't be able to speak, apart from the odd words of encouragement to yourself or your rowing buddies. So even if you want to completely ignore any pace advice I give because you're either lacking a 2K time or you don't trust me, or you just have a machine, a rowing machine that doesn't really allow you to accurately pace yourself with a 2K training pace, then that's how to deal with them. You can talk nearly all the time on foundation. You can talk some of the time on hard, and you'll find it hard to talk on the tough stuff. Okay? Which basically reveals what I'm doing here, which is I'm taking the ideas behind a few different plans and molding them into one that is follow-alongable. there's a word, follow alongable. Molding them into something that you can follow along with me on these workout videos. Because if you look at some of the paid for plans out there, a lot of them are distance based. So like 4 times 2K, which we can't do together because you might finish your 2K before me and then that'll mess up all the rest. So I then tweak that kind of a session so that we can, which basically means converting it into a timed row. But then there's also the confusion over pace guides, where some plans are very, very prescriptive about what pace you should be rowing at. You must do it 2K plus 18 and stick to that, blah, blah, blah. Other plans, the Peak plan for instance, which I'll happily admit is one of the plans that I'm using to base this on. I say one of them, it's not the only one. Anyway, on the Peak plan, there's no pace guide at all. Basically for the endurance stuff like this, he says just go at a pace that you can do it at, and then if you found it easy, the next time you do it, go a little faster, which is just as valid. So if by the end of not just this session, but the first week of training, if you feel that your weak link is this row, then next time you do it, maybe go 1 or 2 seconds per 500 meter split faster. So if you're doing this right now and your projected finish is 7,300 meters, maybe next time you try and get 7,400 meters and then see how that feels for you. And if that then really hits the mark where you're slightly out of breath, you're certainly perspiring, but your cardio system and your muscles only feel kind of 60%, 6 out of 10 used, then you've done it right. Heart rate, if you want to look at that, probably around 70 to 75% of your max. But basically, what I'm saying is I'm going to try and give a prescribed pace for each session. I'll give an effort out of 10 for each session, but I'll also give you a more woolly, can you talk through it? How do you feel at the end? And it's just going to be, I think I'll probably do maybe 3 or 4 weeks running through it on a very structured, numbered format, but then I'll go through all of my legacy rows and I'll mark them up as either foundation, mid, or top tier workouts. So then you can start mixing them around yourself. So what I will endeavour to do is, in the comments, I will add in the structure in terms of what day you should be doing what level, and then you can fill your boots. Just go through it and pick the one that matches. So even though I'm going to do a few weeks of them numbered in order, you can mix them up as you see fit. Does that sound like a plan? Good. Right, so with 30 seconds to go, for a final technique point, concentrate on getting your shins vertical at the front for the next few strokes. So come to the front, shins vertical, drive. Front, shins vertical, drive. And what I'll do is I'll go through more technique stuff in every single row. One more stroke. Now, I don't know about you, but for me that half hour flew by. However, I also really need a drink because I've talked non-stop. So, basically, this is how you want to be. So, breathing a little bit heavy, sweating for sure, but you could easily do that again from your legs and your cardio system isn't too ruined. Okay, so let's hit 2-minute cool down. If you're not already cooling down. Now, the important thing, if you've just finished that row and you're thinking, you know what, she's right, I'm not breathing that hard. You know, my legs aren't that tired. I don't think this kind of a session's going to do anything for me. Trust me, it does, if you use it how it's meant to be used. So you do these foundation sessions, and then you do a hard session, then a tough session, then a foundation session again to recover from the tough session, and another hard one, etc., etc. So, as a standalone, you might quite easily argue that that wasn't the biggest workout ever. But this is part of a plan. Okay, this isn't a standalone workout, it's part of a plan. So, embrace the plan, be honest about your pace, put in the effort that I ask of you, and it'll be fine, okay? You'll get faster, you'll get fitter, you'll get stronger, you'll get better on the rowing machine, and if you listen to my technique tips, then you'll also do all of that without causing yourself injury. If you go rogue, that's perfectly up to you, okay? Don't worry, no one's going to shout at you. You can do this session and not have it as part of a plan if you want. But today's session was meant as part of either my plan, let's call it the PDP plan, or a similar session within your own plan. So maybe you're doing the Fitness Matters training plan and they've prescribed a 22 stroke per minute half hour. Then you can swap this one in, okay? Just public service, because what I don't want is for you to go, oh, hang on, I came here for a really tough workout. I didn't get that really tough workout. I'm not enjoying this. Which I'm hoping that's not a very good impression of your voice. Anyway, okay, so that's all I'm saying. Okay, so this is part of a full plan, but you can use it within your own plan. You can do it as a standalone session, but just yeah, that's all I'm saying. Is that if you're at the end of that row and you're not thinking, I want to be on the floor destroyed. Actually, if you want to be on the floor destroyed now, do a 1K time trial. Okay, if that wasn't tough enough for you, load up 1,000 meters and just go at it. See how fast you can do the 1K and then post your time. However, if you can do that, it voids this workout as the foundation workout in my PDP plan. Okay? Crikey, this is the longest outro ever. I've not even given you my go to pdprowing.com and go to indoorrowinginfo.com nonsense. So anyway, there we go. So it's the first session, which is why I'm backloading all this information in it. I will add all of this on the comment section, and I will put it on my pdprowing.com website so that you always have the reference. If you have any questions at all about this, please just ask, because I'm recording these as we go. So any comments, queries, suggestions, we've got a good 25 more of these to record, so I can quite happily roll in whatever you want. Okay, now, are you still here? Are you still listening to me talking? Are you still cooling down? If so, today's hashtag will be beardy face. Okay, so not a food one, beardy face. Okay, so if you want to leave a comment, just to prove you got to the end, then today's hashtag is beardy face. And I hope you didn't skip to the end just for the hashtag. Okay, you have a great day. Please stay safe, stay busy, stay training, and I will see you in another video